All right. Do you know someone by the name of Katherine Magbanua?
Oh, yes.
How do you know her?
Personally and professionally.
Let's start with personally. Okay. Now, how long? I know you're probably not going to know the exact date and time, but how long have you known her?
Maybe 4 years.
Approximately 4 years?
Sure.
Would I be correct in saying that you met her around 2013?
Yes, very rough.
Very rough estimate.
Yes.
How did you meet her?
Through, I guess, my roommate, Charles Adelson.
Well, where were you guys living when you were roommates?
I met him before that. I'm not sure, but we were roommates for like 3 years, roughly, maybe. I can be way off, but we became roommates when we were living together in Miami, in Brickell Avenue. Then, following that, we were there for about a year. Following that, we lived in his home for the next, I guess, 2-ish years.
Do you know where he lives now?
Sort of, yes.
Is that same home or he moved?
He was living in Brickell, South Beach. I think he just moved back to his house or is in the process of moving back to his house. I'm not sure. But I think I met her probably before I lived with him, just out socially when they were kind of together.
Let's go back, and our focus now is with Charlie. How do you know Charlie?
We went on a medical mission trip together
Where was that?
in Jamaica.
Really?
Yes,
You recognize the accent?
sure.
So give me a brief description of what the medical mission project is.
I went as a general physician. Charlie was there as a dentist or dental student. I don't recall. That was a long time ago. That was 7 or 8 or 10 years ago.
Do you maybe remember an approximate year?
I have the shirt at home. I can find it probably like 8 or 9 years ago. 9 years ago. So maybe 2010 or so.
What part of Jamaica did you go to?
Well, Kingston and Ocho Rios and stuff. That is how I met him. Then socially, just we see each other, once or twice a month after the trip.
Would it be fair to say that you met there and then you became friends?
Yes, that was our first encounter.
When you first met him, did you know if he knew someone by the name of Katherine Magbanua?
First met him? No. I think I just met her like out one night with him because they were friends. I think they worked together at some point in the dental office or something. They met in South Beach in a dental office.
So when you first met Charlie, you guys were just friends. Did you ever get the opportunity to meet his family?
Yes,
Which members of the family did you meet?
everyone except his older brother.
Tell me if I'm right. Donna is his mother,
Uh huh.
Harvey his father.
Yeah.
Have you met his wife, his sister, Wendy?
Yes.
In what settings have you met them? Were you maybe a dental patient or?
I think I went to their office like for a cleaning maybe one time, but they had seen me as a patient. They either come to my office or come to the house for cookouts and stuff.
Okay, what about Wendy?
Same.
Same. Did you have an opportunity to meet Wendy's ex-husband,
Uh huh.
Dan?
Yeah,
How many times?
twice. I met him at a book signing in Miami. maybe that was, I think I met him twice. I remember one time, I remember meeting him, and she had a book signing.
Wendy did?
Yeah, he was there. That might be the only time I met him. I don't recall.
Would it be fair to say on those two occasions you met him briefly?
Yeah, I talked to him for about 5 or 10 minutes.
What did you know about them?
Nothing much, just he was an attorney as well.
You knew Wendy was also an attorney?
Uh-huh. Yeah,
Mr. DeCoste. Is that a yes?
yeah.
Mr. DeCoste. It reads on the record, or I just want to make sure it's clear. Ms. Kawas. I didn't catch it. Mr. DeCoste. It's all good. By Ms. Kawas. When you met them, did you know whether or not they were still married at the time?
I think back then, yes, they were still, still married, yes.
So this would be around the time that Wendy released her novel?
Yeah.
Around that year?
Yeah.
Would you go out with Charlie and hang outside, you know?
Uh-huh.
Did you ever read Wendy's book?
No, I have a copy.
You have a copy, but you haven't read it?
Yeah.
Is the name of the book, This Is Our Story?
Yeah.
Mr. DeCoste, released in 2013. Ms. Kawas, it was released in 2013. Mr. DeCoste, published in 2013. Ms. Kawas, has Charlie ever been married?
I hope not. Not that I know of.
When did you guys decide to move in together?
It was when, I don't know, I guess like 4 years or so ago.
The first place you said was in Brickell?
Uh-huh.
High rise in Brickell?
Brickell Avenue, yes, ma'am.
Did you meet Katherine before moving in as a roommate?
Probably. I don't remember. If so, like maybe once or twice.
Now, since you know Charlie for a long time, how would you describe Charlie?
Like a generous, friendly, outgoing guy.
How is his relationship with his sister?
I think it was very good.
Did they ever mention their other brother, Robert?
Like, not much at all.
But you never met him?
I never met him.
How would you describe his parents on the few occasions that you met them?
Nice, friendly, pretty warm.
Have you ever had, do you know Charlie to ever have a violent nature to him?
I've never seen him act violently, no.
You said that when you met Katherine, it was through Charlie? She was a friend of Charlie?
I don't know that the relationship, I just don't know what their relationship was at that time.
When you met her, do you know if she was working with him at the time you met her?
The only thing I know is they met, I think, at Sophie Dental.
Did Charlie practice through Sophie Dental?
Uh-huh. I think she was the receptionist when he was coming in once or twice a week or a month.
Is that a situation? Did he have a specialty at the dental practice?
Yes, periodontist.
Root canals?
No, implants.
A direct examination by Mr. DeCoste. Doctor, my understanding is that you moved out of Charlie's home when you got engaged.
Roughly.
When did you get engaged?
Like a year and a half ago.
That puts us at middle of 2015.
Yes. I think I got my house, but yes, I got my house in December of 2015, I guess. But then, so it was a few months before that.
So sometime, let's say in the summer of 2015.
I think so.
Am I correct in that you guys lived together for about 3 years?
I think.
Before a year in Brickell and 2 years.
You're confusing me. It's Brickell Avenue, not Brickell. But maybe 2.5 in his house.
Okay, now between 12 and 15, 2012 and 2015, that's the time you were living in the same house?
Roughly, yes.
Was that the primary residence for both of you?
Yes.
By Ms. Kawas. Okay, when you first met Katie, was it a situation she was dating Charlie, or were you just introduced as friends?
Well, that's hard to say. I don't know. I mean, friends mostly. It wasn't like they were on a date. We were probably at a bar or something.
A group of people was there?
At least 3 or 4 people.
He introduced her as being part of the group?
Yeah, I guess.
Did you know anybody else that's on Katie's side?
Yeah, sort of.
Do you remember any of her friends' names?
Her friends?
Yes.
I mean, I only met a couple. I don't remember the names. Like, one day we did a happy hour and one of her friends came out. Actually, her husband came out one day with the group of us.
And her husband, you mean Sigfredo?
Uh-huh. I don't think they were married at the time. I don't know for sure.
Do you remember when around the time you met Sigfredo Garcia?
I met him twice. Once was at our office holiday party. She brought him.
At your office party?
My office party. Whatever day that was, whichever year that was.
We can probably go in chronological order and figure that out.
I think I took my office to a Miami Heat game and she brought him.
As a guest?
As a guest, yes. As a guest. You know,
What's your-
sometimes I get confused by your accent, but I'm assuming you mean as a guest.
Yes.
Yes, it was as a guest.
Yes. What's your impression of Sigfredo?
I mean, he was fine. I didn't spend one-on-one. It was a group of 10 people both times. He was cordial, friendly. That was it.
So apart from, would you say you and Katie were friends?
Yes, because we met before. She worked for me, you know? So we were friendly, you know? I wouldn't call her unless I was out with Charlie, but him and I were out enough that she would meet us.
You guys would hang out?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Did you know she had kids?
Yeah.
Had you ever met her kids?
Yes.
Do you know when? Was it when she worked for you?
Yeah, maybe one time she brought them in, but I think I definitely met them at some point prior to that.
The young boy and the young girl?
Yeah.
You were aware that Katie and Charlie were actually dating at one point?
Yeah, at some point.
Did Charlie say to you, what would Charlie say to you about Katie?
Well, it was only a real casual relationship. They weren't ever really totally exclusive. I don't even know whether she was married or not married. I have no idea about that kind of timeline. But I mean, he dated a lot of people. It was just hard to keep track of who and what.
Have you ever known Charlie from the time you have known him to have any committed relationships, like a serious girlfriend?
Yeah, I mean, sort of, yes.
But you do know when he was dating Katie, it was casual?
Well, that was one of the less serious ones, I guess you could say.
Would it be fair to say it was understood they could see other people as well, too?
I mean, she had children, by the way. I added that. mentor lawyer added it. Okay, not really understood, but I mean, not understood, but probably okay.
Would you guys go out when you were on South Beach a lot?
No, a couple of times maybe, just Charlie or I and or the three of us. Who?
As a group?
I mean, once in a while, but
Did Katie ever stay over at the house when you were roommates?
I'm not sure. I mean, I am sure, but I can't think of a date that she did. But I mean, I'm sure.
I'm not sure if I actually asked you this before. I apologize if I'm asking it again. You are aware that Katie was at some point working for the Adelsons?
I don't know. I don't know.
Okay, so when you...
She worked in dentistry. I don't remember her working there. She could have, and me not have known about it.
When she worked at Sophie Dentistry, do you know what her job was?
I think front desk.
You didn't know too much of the details of what she did there?
No.
Were you aware she was working anywhere else?
The only other place I knew she worked, I never saw her there, but she told me she worked at Gulfstream, maybe as a bartender on weekends and nights. I don't know when exactly. I think it was weekends, mostly because we talked about that.
You remember her saying she worked there at the bar?
Yes, at Gulfstream, I think. But I could be way off. It could be at South Beach, but I think it was Gulfstream.
Mr. DeCoste, you just said a second ago that you don't know when. When you said that, were you referring to what day of the week?
Yes.
Or what year?
Yes, on both. I think she was working in Gulfstream when she worked for me part-time. I'm pretty sure.
Do you know if she had worked there prior to working for you?
Where?
At Gulfstream.
Probably. I mean, it sounds like something she did for a while, like on and off.
Ms. Kawas, apart from work at Sophie Dentistry and her telling you she was working at Gulfstream on the weekends, were you aware of any other jobs that she had?
Not really.
How was it she became an employee of yours?
So my receptionist quit. She got a new job in a different field. She had been there since I started, like 2.5 years or so. Then a new opportunity came up, so I was in the process of looking for a replacement. And as that was occurring, Charles was, hey, I know Katie would be great for your office just because she's good looking. She's personable. She also has derm experience, which I didn't know. I'm not even sure if he said she worked at a dermatologist's office somewhere.
Sometime in her past?
Yeah. Maybe a plastic surgeon or derm. Something like that. I wasn't super sold on it, but it was kind of hard to find somebody. It was just like the timing was right. He was, well, have her come in. And as soon as you don't need her anymore, I think she just needed the job at the time. She was friendly enough that she was nice. And the fact that she had derm experience, I said, okay, so that's what happened.
You remember around when this was?
I sent all my stuff to the state. Worked, whoever asked like 6 months ago, they asked for all the records. When she worked, how many hours a week, so don't have any of that stuff here.
Do you know what kind of documentation that was?
Just her payroll and stuff, whatever, all her sign in and sign out every day, I think. So whatever that was, our personnel does that stuff to send. I got a subpoena for that, so I sent all of that in.
So whatever paperwork in relation to Katie being an employee of yours, Whatever you had sent over to the state?
Yeah,
DeCoste, do you know when that was?
roughly, yeah. But I don't know. I think she quit.
DeCoste, roughly when the paperwork was sent to the state?
Oh, 6 months ago.
Ms. Kawas, now was it your own practice or did you share?
Just me.
And how was Katie? Did you pay her directly or how does she get paid?
Same as everyone else, payroll, whatever.
Did your business file tax documentation to show she was an employee?
Uh-huh.
DeCoste, is that a yes?
Yeah.
Kawas, was she ever paid cash under the table?
No, I don't think so.
And from what you can remember, I know you don't have the documentation in front of you. Do you remember basically what her salary was?
It wasn't so. That's another whole story. She had a little sketchy, but she said she couldn't make over a certain amount, so I paid her whatever she asked. It's less than what I would have paid her. It was like closer to minimum wage. We started at maybe 15 or 16 an hour, and she was getting a little less.
Less than you would normally pay at minimum wage?
Yeah.
Did she tell you why it is that she didn't want to make a certain amount?
I think because of the situation with her kids and health insurance, I didn't want to get into that. I said, if and when you want to revisit that, let me know. But at the moment, she needed to make a certain amount.
Was it a situation she had to make a certain amount in order to qualify?
No, I think she didn't want to make too much and lose her benefits. She said that whatever she makes wouldn't pay for her health insurance for her kids. So it would have been a waste of time. If she made more than X number of dollars, she would lose that and the insurance would cost more than what I paid her or whatever.
She wanted to make sure whatever insurance she had for the two kids would stay intact.
I don't know if that's the only reason. That's what she told me.
Were you aware that her son was autistic?
No.
Were you aware that her daughter, I hope I am not getting them mixed up, but that suffers from a speech impediment?
Not that I'm aware of.
All right. At any time, did you pay her cash to supplement the hours that wasn't on her paycheck?
No. Every employee at some point asks for cash, like an advance sometimes. I think I might have done that a couple of times, something like that. I did that last week for one of my employees, but it wasn't consistent.
Regular thing?
No.
Do you know, was she part-time?
She was basically full-time, but she didn't stay forever. I get it. She has kids, but she was late every day almost and had to leave early. Sometimes called out a bunch. I mean, when she was there, she was great as far as patients liked her and we were friendly. She was a fun person to be around. I think she did a pretty good job when she was there, but she was not very dependable.
I assume that's outside influence with her kids.
Yeah, I imagine that was the case.
Was she working, to your knowledge, at any other place at the time she was working for you?
I think just the bar.
Okay. The cost. By bar, you mean Gulfstream?
Yeah, I think.
The cost. Do you believe that you have full information on the bars that she worked at, or
No.
the cost? You just know Gulfstream, and there could have been other places.
I guess. I don't know.
Kawas. When she started working for you, had you already moved out from
No, I think I was still living with him.
the cost? You were saying before, sometime in 2015, that you moved out because of your house. And then in October 2015, she starts working for you. Could those two have overlapped, though?
Yes, yes. I don't know exact details. I mean, it's been a while. I mean, how long has she been in jail?
Kawas, a year. DeCoste, since October.
It's been a while.
Kawas. Do you know when Charlie and Katie, I don't know if dating is a right term, stopped dating?
No idea.
Until the time of, I guess, Katie's arrest, were you aware she was still friends with Charlie?
Definitely friends. Yes.
So after October 2015 would be when, probably that December is when you maybe met Sigfredo. The holiday party, was that a Christmas holiday party?
Well, it's hard to say with the timeline, probably, but I don't know. I don't know if they were back. They were even back together. They were back together, but I don't know.
Okay,
I
you
don't
skipped something. Jerry, keep it up. Okay, even though it looked like she was back together with Sigfredo, was she still hanging out with Charlie?
Not really.
I think you kind of skipped a sentence there. Okay.
Oh, wait.
So
Hold
then
on a
I
second.
asked, did Charlie
Let,
ever
let me
talk
listen to you
about-
because I'm. What's going on? Did I mess up something?
Yeah, you skipped over something. Okay,
What?
so then I asked, did Charlie ever talk to you about any instances where did he ever talk to you about Sigfredo?
Okay, so that part of you, I didn't say not really.
Yeah, but you skipped over something else where you were just supposed to say yes a couple of lines up. But
Oh, let's go back up then.
we're
Okay,
out
fine.
of sync.
All right. So you want to go back to after October 2015?
No, that's okay. Let's just keep going. Okay, so I'm on
All right,
line 15 now. Okay.
Okay.
Did he ever mention him as, oh, that's the father of Katie's kids?
Yeah, definitely.
Did he in any way say he knew him?
I mean, he definitely knew him better than I did.
You've never seen them out together, though.
No, not seen them. No,
Do you know someone by the name of Luis Rivera?
only through the media.
Apart from that, you never met him?
Never.
Leading up to May of last year, was Katie still working for you in May of last year?
I don't. I'm not sure.
Did you become aware that the father of her kids, Sigfredo, had been arrested?
Yeah, that definitely happened after she stopped working for us. That would probably be more traumatic.
If she was still at the office?
Yeah. It probably wasn't that much further, but definitely after.
DeCoste, would the records that you gave to the state, I don't have the records, but the records that you gave to the state show when she stopped working?
Yes.
DeCoste, would that be the best reflector of when she was employed by you?
Yeah.
Kawas, were you living with Charlie when Wendy's husband was killed?
Yes.
You were his roommate at the time?
Yes.
How did you find out that he had been murdered?
I think Charlie told me.
I told you I'm going to get very detailed. Do you remember how it was that Charlie told you?
Not really.
Do you remember the words he used?
I mean, just he was murdered, I guess. Yeah.
How was his demeanor when he
I think as expected.
expected, as in distraught, or
Not distraught. It wasn't like pleasant discussion. It was like, this is crazy, you know? One of those kind of things.
did he seem surprised?
I wouldn't say surprised. No.
Do you remember around that time, did Charlie ever leave to go to Tallahassee or anything in regards to the passing of Mr. Markel?
No, I don't.
Did you ever meet Wendy's two boys?
Yeah.
When did you meet them?
At the house.
They were really young at that time.
Yeah.
Whose house? Your house?
Charlie's house.
Charlie would.
The parents would come over, Wendy would come over, the kids would come over.
But you don't remember Dan Markel coming over?
Maybe, like I said, there may have been a second time that I may have met him at the house. I don't recall.
And were you living with Charlie at the time he was killed? Where was that?
Whale Harbor, his house.
The house, well, Harper. Okay. Do you remember if Charlie actually told you what happened the day that it happened or around the time, or you wouldn't know?
I mean, we both work a lot. Whenever I say, whenever I saw him at the house, whether it was that night or the next morning, that's when he told me.
Did he seem to have any information, or he didn't, or did it seem he had no idea?
Not much. He was pretty vague.
Now, how did you become aware Sigfredo Garcia was arrested for that murder?
I think at that time, everybody was following the case. I think my girlfriend either saw it or told me or something.
Do you remember seeing it on the news?
Either news or I read about it online.
What was your first impression when you saw what he had been arrested before her?
Before her, that is kind of scary.
Around the time he was arrested, you'd already at this point moved out and no longer Charlie's roommate, right?
I believe so.
Do you remember when the last time you saw Katie was?
Probably just the last day she worked for me, I think.
How did you learn about Katie's arrest?
Same way.
News?
Just the media, I think.
And the police came to speak to you the day after she was arrested?
I don't remember the date, but I think probably soon after.
Does it sound right? It was at least close in time to when she was arrested?
Yeah, I guess.
Between the time Sigfredo was arrested and she was arrested, I know a lot of things were released in the media.
Uh-huh.
DeCoste,
Yeah.
yes?
Yeah.
Kawas, do you remember reading the unsigned warrants that were released in the media for Charlie and for Katie?
I don't think I read about Charlie, but Katie, I guess I did.
That document was several pages long, talking about phone calls.
Yeah, I read that.
Do you know if you read that before she was arrested or after she was arrested?
I would imagine after.
But you're not sure?
No.
Were you surprised when she was arrested?
Surprised? I mean, not really, but I don't know. I mean, to me, this is a messy situation, so.
DeCoste, not really. You expected her to get arrested?
Not expected, but it's just a bad situation for the whole family and for everyone involved, so I don't know. It's not really.
Kawas, where did the officers interview you?
My house.
And I have your address in here. I'm not going to read it into the record, but it was at your house at the time. Your arrest is in the report.
Uh-huh.
I think she meant address. Okay. Who
My
was home with
fiancé,
you?
myself.
Was this situation where they came and knocked on the door and identified themselves?
Uh-huh. Yeah.
How many of them were there?
2
2 males?
males.
Do you remember their names?
Nope.
If I said their names, do you think it may jog your memory?
Probably.
Patrick Sanford, does that sound familiar? DeCoste, younger guy, shaved head.
I think so.
Kawas, Craig Isom with the Tallahassee Police Department.
Yeah,
DeCoste, older, white hair.
that sounds right.
Kawas, did Mr. Sanford identify himself as an agent with the FBI?
Yeah,
What did they say to you when they came to the door?
they were really friendly. I think they had some questions about Charlie and the case and Katie, whatever.
At this point, when they came to see you, you had kind of been aware of what was going on.
Yeah,
Did you invite them inside?
yeah,
Where were you guys seated?
just in the kitchen.
Was your fiance there?
She was, but she wasn't involved.
Did they record your conversation in any way?
No, not to my knowledge.
What kind of questions did they ask you?
Just kind of stuff that you guys are asking, basically.
All right. Mr. DeCoste, Doctor, well, Miss Kawas was asking questions. I was trying to put together the timeline so I can sort it out. I apologize for jumping in with yes and no.
That's okay.
We just want to make sure your answers, what your words are being taken down correctly. We don't know if it's the form of positive or negative on the record
Got it.
because it writes out the same way. I'm not going to go through everything she talked about, just certain parts. You met Charlie around 2012. Do I have that correct?
Yes, roughly.
Throughout the course of that time, leading up to the time that you moved in together, you're living together, you're just roommates, friends, going out, hanging out?
We are friends going out. Again, we both worked a lot. I might go out once a week for a couple of hours. I would start earlier than him. I might have seen him 5 minutes in the morning. Then he would be gone. He would come back at 10 at night, most nights. You know what I mean?
When you met him, you were going through residency and stuff like that?
Yeah.
You are working crazy hours?
Yeah.
You're not getting good rotation?
Even in Miami, I barely saw him. I was working even more then.
Would you say that you knew what was going on in each other's life?
I mean, as much as guys know about each other's lives, casually, yes.
Was he invited to your wedding?
I haven't gotten married yet, but that is to be determined.
Does he know about the engagement?
Yes, we talked about our relationship and stuff.
During the time that you guys were living together, everything is based on what's going on about that time with the family. Were you aware of the dynamic of what was going on between Wendy and Dan?
Let me go back to the previous question. We do talk about our relationships, but anyway,
Oh, okay. Sorry. During the time that you guys were living together, everything is based on what's going on about that time with the family. Were you aware of the dynamic of what was going on between Wendy and Dan? Any problems that were being shared with you?
Yeah.
What is it you know?
Just it was a rocky relationship. I mean, I don't know. They always talked about it, but it was more just just nothing made sense. Nothing that made sense. Just like he wanted to be more religious for the kids. He turned more really religious, and they didn't like that. And he wanted to make the kids real religious, and they didn't want that. It was just a whole nonsense stuff that they would argue, I guess.
Have you ever had family or friends that have gone through divorces?
I have not, no.
Know of any people that have gone like friends?
I mean,
Not a family member. I'm not saying whether you are a product of a broken home.
no, maybe.
Seen it on TV where it talks about divorces happening.
Sure.
Did this seem any way different than what would be the normal fighting that goes on with a divorce with its kids or maybe a marital home? Or did it seem like it was in some way different, that it can turn violent at some point in time?
No, it didn't seem violent. Definitely didn't like him, but I didn't really feel anything more than that. I have nothing to compare it to, honestly. It didn't seem reasonable. Like, they would make such a big deal out of the fact. Maybe there was more going on that I just didn't know about. All they mentioned was the religious thing. He wasn't very cool.
Who are you getting the information from? Just Charlie or from other people in the family?
I think he's the only person that really talked about it, but he talked about it because of, that was maybe his sentiment, but more so probably Wendy and the family. I never talked about Wendy's husband with Wendy or Wendy's parents about that. We just talked. Charlie was probably the only person I spoke to about the serious stuff. You know?
He opened up
Yeah,
frustration that his sister was having.
yeah, I guess so.
At any point in time, did he say, I am going to hire somebody to kill her?
No,
Somebody else in the family is going to hire somebody to kill him?
no, he did not.
Miss Kawas asked you a question about his demeanor when he found out that Dan Markel had been murdered. You said that he didn't seem surprised. I want to clarify that. Was it that he didn't seem surprised? I imagine the government may take that to mean that he expected it to happen.
No,
He's dead. I know about it.
no. I don't think I mentioned surprised.
That's why I wanted to clarify for us to understand exactly what you meant by that.
Well, he was just, I don't know if rattled would be a good term. It wasn't like a warm welcome at home. He was on edge.
On edge, acting as if he was concerned about
I mean, just everything.
he being in trouble for it, or just a matter of
He didn't specify. I felt uncomfortable being in the house, so I don't know. It was more not like a warm, friendly environment.
did it seem like it was unexpected news to him?
That I can't really comment on.
Next, we have conversations about Sigfredo, that there was an office party, the Miami Heat game.
Uh huh.
Is that a yes?
Yeah.
Sorry for that. I know it can be annoying to keep saying that, but I just want it to be clear on the record because it seems that these are all office related events. Is it safe to assume that this is around the time Katie is working for you?
Yeah.
Would you have invited Charlie to these events?
I could have, but I mean, if he would have shown up, I wouldn't have had a problem with it. It's just an office. It was just like, the five office members and their significant others. It was like a plus one. That is why he came. Katie brought him
You used the word problem, like it wouldn't have been a problem.
because we were friends. She's only working there because of him. He was part of the family.
My concern is that your word can be taken to mean something else. That is why I asked for a little more clarification on it. I just want to make sure I have a clear understanding of what you mean by it.
Okay.
Okay. When you say not a problem, is it something you wouldn't invite him, but if he showed up, it wouldn't be a problem? Is that what you meant?
Yeah, yeah. I'm not sure how him and Sigfredo. I knew he knew about Charlie. I think, but I don't know that if they were cool with each other or not. I never saw them in the same room together.
Let's go into that topic for a second, or a parallel topic. Charlie and relationships. Did he seem the type of guy to focus on one girl, get hung up on one girl? Or is it possible he's just dating and dating and dating and dating?
I think more just dating.
Is it something, if it had not worked out with Katie, he would have hung up on it? He would have been jealous of the other guy, or would he just be the type, oh, let me move on?
He's a little sensitive in that regards, but not like to the point he's really, really hung up. He might talk it, but he wouldn't be devastated. If she broke up with him or somebody else up with him.
Let's go back to the house you guys lived together around the summer of 2014. So before July, after July. So we're talking about the time when you said you had this conversation where it was kind of uncomfortable in the house that day when you found out that Dan Markel had been killed.
Okay.
At any point in time, did you see massive amounts of money moving through the house?
No.
Him walking in with a stack or bags of cash?
No.
Was that normal in the house that he's walking around, or that there was
I mean, we had
hidden
a safe with money in it and stuff.
stacks of cash inside the house? Okay.
Charlie's a young guy. He's got money. So I don't know. Normal for him.
Hundreds of thousands of dollars sitting in the house?
I don't know how much money.
You guys shared the safe?
Yep,
You had access to the safe as well?
I did.
Did you ever see it stocked full of gold bars and cash?
No, I mean, I kept a couple of things in there. I just tried to respect his space. I didn't dig around. It was a big safe.
That's one of those times on the record we don't.
It was a tall rifle safe, like a tall,
The size of a medium-sized refrigerator?
almost.
So refrigerator you may see in an efficiency,
Yeah,
maybe about 4 feet tall,
yeah,
not one of the small ones,
tall one, 4 or 5 foot safe.
but not a big Sub-Zero, not a big one like that.
No, not a big safe, not a big fridge.
I'm just using that as, I don't know what a big safe is.
Like small enough to fit a rifle, 2.5 feet by 2.5 feet, roughly.
Around that same time, were there any unusual meetings going on in the house where people are coming by? Katie, Sigfredo, are they meeting with Charlie?
Friends would come over. Some I knew, some I didn't.
Did it seem to be during the 3 years that you lived with him, focusing around the time, July 2014, a little before, a little after, was all the behavior activity normal and consistent with the previous behavior? Or was it all of a sudden during that summer like a weird spike?
I mean, there's definitely a change. I think it's reasonable.
After the murder or before?
I think after the murder. I think after the murder or before Katie got arrested, the gap.
I'm talking about June 2014, the months before the murder. Were there all of a sudden meetings in the house, changes of behavior?
Not that I saw him for 45 minutes as a day maybe.
In those 45 minutes?
No, nothing I thought that was alarming.
You were asked a question of the topic of whether Katie was working for Charlie.
Uh-huh.
Beginning in reference, it may have been, I see in the report here that you may have told the agent and the investigator, no, was that you were unsure if he had worked. Did you know the breakdown of how his office went?
I mean, roughly.
Was he working in different locations under Adelson Institute?
No, I think he's an independent contractor, but I think he bought his dad's practice a couple of years ago. I don't know how that affected things.
Is it that you are just unsure whether she worked for him, or you're positive that she didn't?
I'm not positive. I don't think she worked for him when she worked for me. She worked for me 9 to 5, basically.
What about prior?
Prior, I have no idea. I only know that she worked at Sophie Dental and then I guess at their own practice somewhere, but I think it was before even the dentistry. That was like a while back.
Is it possible she was doing freelance work for him or for the Adelson Institute?
I guess, yeah.
Is that something within industry? And I know you're in a different industry in dermatology, but is it something within the industry that you could have that?
That I wouldn't know.
Next topic. What about a relationship between Charlie and his mother? Did he seem like a mama's boy, that he was close to his mother, talked to her a lot?
I mean, he was closer to his mom than his dad. I think him and his dad had a fallout in the past, but we're better,
Do you know the levels of communication they normally kept?
I mean, pretty normal. They talk regularly.
I tend to be a mama's boy. I talk to my mother all the time.
Probably, definitely, at least every day or two they speak. But also remember, they always saw them at the office at least once or twice a week. Again, I have no idea how many times a week he would be at the Adelson Institute, but at least definitely once or twice a week he would be there. So he saw them there, and then he saw them at our house and probably spoke to them.
Was his mother, Donna,
Donna.
also worked at Adelson Institute?
Yes.
What happens with the relationship between you and Charlie when you eventually move out sometime around, we have it late 2015 that you move out?
Uh-huh.
Is it something that there was a falling out between the two of you, or did you just move out and you get engaged and slowly kind of like you're not going out as much?
Mostly that. I got my girlfriend after the whole story broke. She was pretty spooked. Me too. I mean, I have nothing to say really, but I'm trying to distance myself a little bit just because I don't want to even be involved. I get it. It kind of looks bad on me that I live with some guy and I employ this girl, you know. It's not like a great situation for me. I got a phone call from some person that was on one of those TV shows that wanted to interview me. He was like, "Did you live with Charlie Adelson?" I was like, "No." "Were you guys roommates?" I was like, "No." They were like, were you college roommates?" "No." "Someone like a pseudo famous TV." I have no interest in obviously talking to anybody at that point. All that stuff I'm trying not, you know.
Which is all understandable.
Yes.
Had you, during the time frame while all of this was going on, when I'm saying all of this is going on right around the time, July 2014, if you had been a witness to or known about something that was evidence that went to guilt of somebody, of course you would have let the authorities know about that.
Yeah, I mean, this is a scary situation for me. I mean, I can say I don't even know how to answer that. Gosh, you're talking about dangerous people. I wouldn't want,
Who are the dangerous people?
I mean, someone committed murder here. I don't know who did it. I'm not trying to cross anyone's path and have someone want to take me out. You know what I mean?
Just to clarify that, because I would never want any of the media sources to take your words and make it seem like something different. When you're talking about the dangerous people, you would be afraid that somebody would come after you. Are you just saying in general because there was a murder here?
Yeah, I mean, I'm like a third party, third trier. I mean, I'm definitely in the string somewhere. You know what I mean? As far as I know, people that were evidently involved in this, I don't want, to cross anyone's path that maybe was involved or upset anybody that theoretically was involved, you know?
Is one of the people you would be concerned about doing something Katie? Is there a fear that she herself would harm you?
No, I mean, again, before this happened, would I think she's a mastermind or did something?
Do you think now she is?
Hard to say. I don't know.
Or are you going based on what you have seen?
What I read, it sounds like a bad situation for everyone you are talking about. Do I think anyone is guilty? I don't know. I don't have any. I don't have the information. I don't have any firsthand. You know, I wasn't privy to any information that would indicate that. But it is just bad. You read the stories and see stuff online, and it's just a bad situation. I don't want any part. I don't want any part of it. You know.
The perception that you have right now of all of this is through what you have seen on TV.
Basically, yeah.
If you were given a different perception, do you believe that could change your view on what is actually the reality?
That would be hard to do.
You would agree with me. If I give you one side of view of the story, that you may not have the full picture, right?
Sometimes.
Do you believe that you know everything about this case?
I feel I know enough.
Again, that's all coming from your basis right now is not on any knowledge you have from living there, but it's based on what you saw on the TV.
Yeah, and the social internet.
That is what I'm trying to find out, if there are other things that you know that we don't know.
No.
So basically, out there, everything you talked about today, there is no other information that you have that we don't have in front of us right now.
That mentor lawyer guy sounds very convincing. That was just an addition by mentor lawyer. All right, let me go back to the answer. No.
Nothing that I can't pull up on this computer right now.
Exactly.
What I have on this computer, I'm not talking about the discovery. I'm talking about through Google, all of that information,
Sure.
Dateline, any of the news reports, stuff like that.
Right, a mentor lawyer.
The timeline that I have, just to clarify, this is not to
I added
test
that
you,
that way.
but I'm asking you honestly because I'm taking down notes. So please correct me if it's wrong. Whatever you said earlier on the record, this is not undercut any of that. It's just to get a rough understanding. Around 2010, around that time frame, you meet around 2012, you move in together. 2014, we have the homicide. Toward the end of 2015, you get engaged, you move out. Around that time, Katherine is under your employ.
Uh-huh.
Sometime around March 2016, she stops working for you. She's not really showing up. Then all the rest start happening.
Yeah.
Final topic, talking about medical offices. In not saying you do this practice or if you know this practice is done,
Okay.
where somebody, when they're performing services, they will quote somebody a cash price, not because they're necessarily taking the cash, but because they are trying to avoid any transaction fee on a credit card, that they're saying to somebody, we can do this, or we can give you a cash price quote.
Yeah.
Could you explain how that works?
Yeah. People have cash they want to get rid of, that they just don't need or rather use, before it depreciates.
Are these patients?
Yeah, patients or friends.
The cost. Off the record for 1 second. Short pause. The cost. Back on. You're explaining that some people would want to.
Two reasons. Either A, they just want to get rid of cash that they have, or B, as a business owner, you are saving a little money. It's like 3% it costs us to process credit cards, for example. So you're saving money on that end.
What you're saying is that if a business takes a credit card, that business is going to have to pay 3% of what it's paid
Uh-huh.
to a credit card?
Roughly, whatever it is, whatever you have negotiated, yes. It is also to your advantage to prefer cash over a credit card.
Does that necessarily mean the cash is then taken and never reported?
I'm sure that happens a lot, but it is harder if you have some people working for you that are taking it,
Would you agree that the act of taking cash payment is not necessarily a sign of somebody trying to hide those monies, that instead it could be a situation of them just trying to save
Yeah.
on cost?
Uh-huh.
Basically, that doesn't all fall under the umbrella of, nefarious activity.
No, I agree.
Ms. Kawas, Donna Adelson, was she a dentist or was she just working there?
She just works
Do you know what it was that she did?
front desk.
Did she work at several different or just there?
I think just there.
Then you said Charlie and his dad had a falling out.
Yeah, I don't know. I just know they weren't real close. I think that was even before we started living together. I think it's just him and his brother don't talk. I think things were maybe related. I don't know. But I think since I lived with him, things got better. They were totally normal when,
You don't know what the details were?
no.
You just know they may have had an estranged.
I think it was with his brother. It wasn't anything bad or malicious. I think it was just brotherly stuff.
Ms. Kappelman, no questions. Thank you. Ms. Kawas, thank you so much. Mr. DeCoste, have you understood all of our questions?
Yes.
Have they been fair?
Yeah.
If you were called to testify in a hearing or trial in this case, your testimony would be the same if we asked you pretty much the same stuff.
I believe so.
What about the atmosphere in the room today? Did it seem contentious? Did it seem, the record only has words but doesn't have the atmosphere? Have you been comfortable, although it's a smaller room? Is there any time you felt you were ill, trapped in this room, that you were being forced to give certain answers over another?
No, I mean, it's not a comfortable situation for someone that is not in the law field, but it wasn't a terrible feeling.
Okay. Ms. Kawas, is there anything else you think is important that you want to add that we may not have covered with our questions?
No, nothing I can think of.
If you do think of something, I know we're going over situations that span years. If you think of something that you're like, wait, this may be important, will you contact the state attorney and let her know, and she will let us know?
Sure.
I will reserve your right to read the deposition, DeCoste. That means you can get a copy, looking to see if there are any inaccuracies.
I'm going to be back to mentor lawyer now. Enough
Okay.
of Dr.
Okay.
Jerome, Obed. Hello, everybody. I'm watching StreamYard now. I'm watching you guys. Hello.
Yeah.
Mentor lawyer is back. I guess I better tie my buttons. I don't know if you ever got married, by the way.
What?
I don't know if Dr. Jeremy Obed got married, but I'm gonna after we end talking real briefly, I'll go ahead and put the transcript. I'm gonna scroll through it super fast. So if anybody wants to read it, the actual transcript, because I did add a few things here and there just to make it fun. And I was pretending to be Dr. Obed, and I was pretending that I liked Judy, and that I was flirting with her, and I was pretending that I watch Mentor Lawyer all the time. But maybe he does. I don't know. Or maybe he doesn't.
But have you actually heard this guy talk before? Does he really talk like that?
I'm going to show it to you right now. I actually did search this morning how I should be Dr. Jeremy Obed. He has a YouTube channel.
Oh.
With 2 subscribers.
Oh, I had no idea he had a YouTube channel.
So that's where I got the picture that I put on the thumbnail. So let me see.
Okay. Yeah. Let us see. So I thought it was funny.
I'm going to share the real Dr. Jeremy Obed.
Okay. Yeah. So it sounds like he was already engaged when he met up with June.
Yeah, I guess
based on the timeline.
I'm not sure. I mean,
sounds like
I think he dated June before sometime. I don't know.
Who knows with these
Let me
people.
introduce you to Jeremy Obed. One second. All right, here we go. Let me share. Hello, everybody. I'll say hi to everybody soon.
Yeah, thanks everybody for being out there on both our channels. It's going on live on both channels, Deep Dive True Crime and Asian American Legal Focus.
Is the OmniMax by Sharplight Technologies. I've had it now for almost a year, and I've had really great results with it to date. The main reason that we selected this laser, the OmniMax, was for its versatility. It was the second laser that we actually purchased here in our practice, which is probably about 80% medical and 20% cosmetic. Our first laser.
That's why I didn't shave today.
As our practice is expanding, we wanted something that could help more on the aesthetic side for cosmetic purposes. Most of our patients now that we're seeing for this reason come in with complaints of just looking tired, aged skin, just want a refreshed look of some sort. A lot of times there's obviously lots of concerns regarding pigmentation, vessels, wrinkles. and this device is able to treat.
How interesting. Okay.
So that's Dr. Jeremy Obed. On his channel, he has one video of himself treating fungus in the toenails of some very funny guy. And he's using a laser to treat
Okay.
the fungus. And he's talking about how he can, that is very rough, very difficult to treat toenail fungus.
Okay. Very, very interesting. Yeah. Thanks for inviting me along to help you read the transcript of the deposition.
You did a great job, except that I really didn't hear that Jamaican accent. You
No,
got to work on
I decided because I'm not very good at doing a Jamaican accent.
that. I'm not good at any accent. I just,
But people will get insulted, and somebody always finds some reason to feel insulted by me, right?
Yeah. And
Yeah.
so anyway, that was a good read. Thank you so much, Judy.
Yeah.
So I guess we can go. I'm going to
Okay.
share the transcript on my end, and you can
Okay.
do that on your end if you want to as well.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I think that'll be good because, some people just really want to do a deep dive into this true crime. So yeah, let's keep going.
All right.
You can take me off the screen though.
Yeah, I'll take you off. I'm going to go.
Okay.
Put the,
Thank you. We'll be in touch.
Bye, everybody. Bye, Judy. Thanks so much
Bye.
for joining. And you can watch it here,
Yes.
or you can watch it on Judy's channel. That
Okay.
hopefully soon is going to be changed to JD Judy.
Okay, we'll think about
I don't know.
changing.
We'll have to think about your new channel name. All right, see you,
Okay.
everybody. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Now here I'm going to share the transcript. So let me remove Judy. Sorry, 1 second. Bye, Judy. All right, here we go. I'm going to go back to the beginning. I'm just going to scroll through it fast, and I'll talk to you guys briefly because I'm trying to find out if I'm going to have tennis today. Actually, let me go ahead and get the phone. Can you guys see it? Let me put it full. There. I'm just showing you like this fast because you guys can stop and pause and read if you want to actually read the real transcript without all the additions or mistakes that I made while I was trying to read it. Because I was trying to look at the camera instead of the screen, so it's kind of hard not to make any mistakes. I'm sure I made several. So here's a real transcript if you want to take a look at it. And of course, I do not know Dr. Jeremy Obed personally. I was playing around with him being a flirty guy. Maybe he wasn't flirty. So just having a little fun with it. So Dr. Jeremy Obed, hopefully you did get married, and hopefully you're a cool guy. And congrats on your marriage then, if you did get married. I'll go back and look at your comments in a second, okay, guys?